Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph, and welcome to Career Conversations with Baba. I have Baba here with me today, and today's topic is identity crisis in career. And we all go through this at some point in our career, and Baba has a wealth of knowledge that he's willing to share with you, so that you can help navigate those situations when you come across them. So, Baba, are you ready to get into this conversation today?
Very much so.
Awesome. Well, let's get right at it. I've had a few conversations or several conversations with different people at different times. One of the issues that I hear about is around the identity crisis in careers. Sometimes people do feel like they're stuck in their current position and they don't know what to do. Or I've had conversations with some people where they have all these degrees, they are PhDs, and yet they're doing maybe a job that somebody that just graduating from university it should be doing, really. So, obviously that can create some internal conflict with people at times. So, I guess the question here to you is, how have you in the past been able to maybe get some type of direction, or how have you been able to address that issue, maybe from your personal experience, or maybe even some people that you may have come across throughout your career?
Well, that's an interesting question, Joe. You see, when we talk of identity crisis, there are different things, different avenues to look at. Some people could be saying identity crisis due to their race. That's not the case. Some people could be saying, like you said, I'm educated, I have this degree, but I'm doing a low-level job. That affects their mental psyche.
Absolutely.
How do you handle this? For example, you have a master's degree, and you are doing a job of lower level job. Obviously, you are not happy with it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But are you performing and are you doing the job you're already doing very well before you say you want to expand?
In fact, I remember an example you gave me. Maybe you can actually even talk about that. So when you were working with the auto industry, you mentioned that there were times where the expatriates that come from maybe France, they came with, let's say, a diploma, but then they come to become your boss, and you have a degree, you have masters, you have PhD. How do you reconcile that type of situation? Because a lot of people are in that situation today.
This happens just as you said, it does happen. However, the thing is, with what you know, how do you market what you know? How do you convince people that you know something that could help them? It is not the paper qualification you have. It is what you can do with what you have. Let me tell you an example. There was this guy who has, where I was working, he has a master's degree. He has appetite for food, but he doesn't have too much appetite for doing the job. So he complained and said, a certain person with a lower level qualification was his boss. He came to me and said, he's not happy. Then I said, what are you doing now? He explained. Anyway, somebody came in and said, well, if you are complaining, how well are you doing in your present job right now? He couldn't answer. He said, we are here to produce cars. We're not here to display certificates. So if you are able to produce the car for us, we shall raise you up. But if you're not able to, I know you like to eat, but it's not okay here. Tell us what you can do, and we will use you to produce what we need. Does that make sense to you? Which means to say, number one, be confident that what jobs your boss assigns you, you are able to do it. Produce the result at the right time, quality, cost. Okay? Look at me, for example. I started in that company as engineering manager. And when I started, I knew my job. One, I was well trained in Britain. I had over 6 years industrial experience in Britain. I left England as a senior industrial engineer. I was recruited, employed in Canada, all expenses paid employment as industrial engineering specialist. Then I came to Nigeria. I became engineering manager. Because of the training I have, I did so well. But you know what? Because I did so well, engineering became small to me. Everybody could see the result I was producing. So I went to the GM and said to him, I would like another job that gives me more exposure. He said, what would you like? I said, I'd like to be in production. It's wider, more scope. He said, okay, I know you know your job already. We can see what you can do. So I went to France. I spent 1 year in industrial management and organization, came back, went into production and became AGM, assistant GM production. What does that tell you? I was able to convince them. They were able to see and believe that I knew my job, I produced good results. Then I was ready to expand. And I grew up. So before you talk of this identity crisis, one, can you sell yourself? Can you convince people to believe that what you know is what you can do? That is number one. And if you can do that, let your boss speak for you. If your boss is happy with the result you are getting, they will push for you. You know, before I became GM in the company, my boss said to me, Fidel, I love to work with you, but I don't want to stop you. I don't want to stop your growth. There's a job coming. MD wants you to do, that was GM commercial. He said, I would like you to advance because you need to be a GM. What does that tell you? My boss was speaking for me.
Absolutely. You like your work?
Yes, he was convinced.
Yeah.
So if you are not sure of what you are, you will have identity crisis because nobody will believe that you can do what you can do. But do not be shy to tell people what you can do. Tell them the results you are able to achieve. Let it be measurable and quantifiable. Then you will grow. You won't have identity crisis because your boss knows where his carrots are.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that. So to me, if I use today's term, I could say it starts with a self-reflection, basically knowing your skills, and you have to be able to actually produce, even though you might feel that what you're doing is something maybe that of a lower capacity to what you can do. But even at that, you still got to do your job very well. Exactly. So then the other follow-up question on that then is, what if even after you have done all of those things, you still feel maybe unfulfilled? Is there, I guess, what do you feel is going on, could be going on in the mind of such a person?
You see, the first thing is define your expectations and your goal. Where do you want to head to? what level, what interests you. Many people, if you ask them some questions, they can't even tell you what they want to do. They will say, I don't know, sure. You must have a direction. That direction defines your goal.
Correct.
And your goal defines how you achieve it, the steps you take to achieve it.
Absolutely.
However, in any corporate organization, who knows you is more important than whom you know. Remember that. You must have good relationship with people. You must have ability to produce results on time. Trouble-free, that means defect-free, consistently. And when you're able to produce consistently, defect-free, of course you gain confidence. Your boss can trust you with what he wants to do because he knows you will deliver. For example, when I went to Canada, I was employed from Britain on an all expenses paid employment as an industrial engineering specialist. If you like to mention the company I mentioned is in Ottawa. So when I arrived, they told me that they had market, but they couldn't produce. They said, help us. I said, okay, I will help you. I used some data I developed in Britain. When I arrived in the company, I verified the data up to 97% plus or minus 3. In management circles, that is very good. So I used my data to do these calculations and made the performance of the factory and all whatnot. I came within that range of performance. Confidence. So I was able to calculate the manpower. They had about 260 people. I reduced their manpower by more than half. 110 people effectively. The rest were, I said, okay, that's my calculation is correct.
Correct.
If you want, you can do what you want. I'm not the one to decide what happens to them.
Yeah.
They had to let them off because I used certain techniques I developed to do it. And the accountant called me and said, Fidel, the results you're giving us are beyond our scope. I will put you on free lunch for as long as you are in this company.
I'll take it.
Yeah. They put me on free lunch. Do they give free lunch here?
No, I wish they would.
but they put me on free lunch for as long as I stayed in the company. Now, the end result of this exercise was when I returned to Nigeria, a certain man came for interview in the company. I was our AGM production. This man came. I was interviewing him to do a youth survey, what industrial attachment. So I asked him, where did you study? He said, Ottawa. I said, oh, you in Ottawa? He said, yes. I said, oh, I was in Ottawa myself. He said, where? I mentioned the name of the company. He said, are you Fidel Njoko? I said, yes. He came and grabbed me and said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If he died that day, he would be very happy. I said, don't touch me. You don't know me. Come on, hold me like that. He said, do you know what happened? I said, no. He said, this company saw him. When they met him, they said, do you know one Fidel Njoko from Nigeria? He said, no, Nigeria is big. They said to him, if you will be as good as Fidel Njoko, the job is yours. How is that, gentlemen? It's 4.5 years after I left them.
Wow.
Do you see how you can lay good foundations and then other people will benefit from it? So those of you who are saying they are stuck, examine your steps. Charity begins at home. Don't justify your errors, your omissions. Try to see where your fault or problem is and work to improve it. Then have good relationship with people. Good relationship. Don't base your relationship on race or color or what. Those are irrelevant things. They exist. But if you satisfy somebody, they will speak for you. And my bosses have spoken for me. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you like it. If you do, hit the subscribe button and share this information with your friends and family members. They will also benefit from you just as you are benefiting with us from this session.